Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for spirits and spirit decks in the world of Magic the Gathering. On this episode, I have an interview with a gatekeeper of spirit knowledge. Do I got you curious? I hope so. You know what? Let's get this episode started, shall we? Let's go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this episode of MTG Ectoplasm. You can reach me at Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm or email me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. I'm your host, Dwight, aka DeBlanco, a medium that wears an extra, extra large. You know what? Before we get to our special guest, I want to thank you, the listener. The hundreds and hundreds around the world listening to this podcast and making it an international sensation. I got to say the countries here: U.S., Germany, Brazil, France, Singapore, Australia, Italy, Taiwan, UK, Canada, Austria, Japan, Finland, Slovakia, and the Philippines. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support, and I 100% appreciate it, and I am humbled. If you have any questions, concerns, please reach out to me either on Twitter or Gmail. I would appreciate it. And you know what? Now it's time. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, where we need to get to know the individual who holds the knowledge about spirits. You know what? Let me open the door for him. Well, there he is. How you doing, Ben? This is Ben, also known as DrKatz from the Spirits Discord. How are you today?
Having me, I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I hit the wrong button here. I don't know what the hell happened, but thank you for joining me on the show. I appreciate it. Ben, you know what? Let people know a little. Let the listener know a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So I am a moderator for the Spirits Discord. There's a few of us on there. The Rift is kind of the headliner. And I think it was about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, he had asked me to join the team, become one of the moderators there. So I've been doing that.
Very nice.
I've been playing Spirits since, let me think here, probably early 2019. So we're coming up on about 2 years. And started with Modern. Really enjoyed the deck and then transitioned over to Pioneer, and I've been playing both Modern and Pioneer, mostly Modern these days, but a little bit of Pioneer. Before Magic, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't play it super competitively, but I really enjoyed it. That was part of my reason for getting into it.
I won't hold that against
you. And I played
you.
a lot of fighting games.
Okay. Describe the fighting games you're into.
So for listeners who play fighting games, Guilty Gear Strive had an open beta recently over the weekend. I play that. I play Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I used to play Street Fighter. I've dabbled a little bit with Mortal Kombat and Justice. One of the biggest things that appealed to me about Magic is, like fighting games, you can kind of get into your opponent's head, kind of read what they're going to do, which is part of what drew me to playing Spirits too.
Well, there you go. Like, I'm 100% agree with you, especially with Blue. You know, we're a bit sadistic in that way. We like to manipulate people and have them do what we want them to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Like say yes or no. It's like the meme, or there's that shirt that has the blue symbol on it. It just says nope.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You can't do that.
Now let me ask you, what made you get into Blue? Is just the fact that you can just mess with people?
Yeah, so there's a funny story. So the first time I touched Magic was back in 2014-15. I was in graduate school, getting my master's degree. One of the friends I met in graduate school introduced me to Magic, and he was like, "Oh, it's really cool. I think you'd like it." And I was like, I don't know. I was like, you know, like fighting games are quick. Like you play a match, it's over in 2-3 minutes. Like I don't have the attention span to like sit down for a half hour and play. Like I just don't know if I have the patience for that. And he's like, hey, it's not always that long. Like there's decks that, you know, can kill you fast. So we started with Pauper,
Okay.
because it's cheap,
I love
and I
Papa.
wasn't ready to be like, all right, yeah, I'll spend $1,000 on this hobby I don't know if I like, you know. So we started with Pauper. I love Halloween. I love everything spooky,
Right.
and I stumbled across zombies. So I was like, all right, like I want to play zombies. So I built mono black zombies. We played on MTGO. It was cheap. We played in paper. And the funny thing is, I hated it. So
What
like I'll
did you
never
hate?
forget. Like it was,
Did you hate
I was
MTGO or did you hate the zombies?
I hated the zombies.
Okay.
So what happened was I was facing a Delver player, and it's my turn, and I tap out and play a couple zombies one turn, and they're holding up mana. They counter summon. The next turn, I remember, I think it was Night's Whisper. I think that's a common card. It was something like Night's Whisper, and I lost 2 life, drew 2 cards, and then passed to my opponent.
Yes,
And I
it's a
was
nice
just
whisper.
it's just funny because like you said, what drew me to blue, like I was just like, this sucks. Like I don't like tapping out because I feel like defenseless. Now it's my opponent's turn. They can do whatever they want. Like I feel so
Violated?
exposed. Like, yeah, I feel so like now I have no control. And when I had played fighting games in the past, I would always play like the zoners or the characters who can like pressure you and lock you down. And it just felt to me like I don't like this play style. I could just tell right then that I wanted to play black so bad because like the art on the black cards is cool. Like
Amen.
skeletons, zombies, everything's spooky. But I found out pretty quickly, like, after that, my friend was like, maybe you'd like blue, like you're always more defensive player because he had played fighting games with me. That's what drew me into it.
So I'm assuming you were like a Sub-Zero type of player as well.
Yeah. I'd probably play Sub-Zero, yeah. I guess I dabbled a little bit with Mortal Kombat.
See, there you go. Now, what is your favorite spirit and why?
Favorite spirit, hands down, Drawskull Captain.
Okay.
There's a couple of reasons why. One is I love the art on Drawskull Captain. It's like there's an old Yu-Gi-Oh card. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Yu-Gi-Oh, but the Destiny heroes were in Yu-Gi-Oh GX, which I grew up with. So there's a card, Doomlord, which not a good card, but the art had like this red ripped cape and claws and everything. And Drawskull Captain has the red ripped cape, the 2 swords, the skeleton, and plus he's like the leader, he's like the boss. Like, I listened to one of your old shows where you talked about, I think the flavor on him's like, dead or alive. Like, a true leader will lead the army. So I love that. And hexproof, obviously very good. Like a lot of times with Drawskull, you're flashing it in during your turn and just instantly killing your opponent right then. It's like, oh, I was going to deal you 4 damage. Nope, it's actually 11. So
yeah.
it's
Drawskull. That's when I first saw Drawskull Captain. If you haven't listened to the first podcast, like I knew that there was something coming up, but at that time when Drawskull Captain came out in Dark Ascension, there was nothing to support him, and I really felt bad, and I was like, And then when the Eldrazi Moon came out, well, not Eldritch Moon, I'm sorry. When that came out, you start getting Spell Queller and all these other guys. I'm like, ooh, yay! But then it was like, oh, there's no Lord. We need another Lord in here.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, I'm 19. We got Supreme Phantom, and here we are now.
That's what's funny. Like I was lucky. I said I started in early 2019, so it was shortly after Supreme Phantom came out.
Oh, you're fortunate.
Came out over that.
Fortunate.
So like when I first started playing Spirit, Supreme Phantom was already a thing. And what happened regarding the color pie, and this is kind of a suggestion I have to everybody, like open your mind, when you decide what decks you want to play. Because like for me, I was getting into Modern, and I was like, oh, I was telling my friend I want to play Dredge. Like there's all these zombies and spooky stuff. It's really cool. And my friend was just like, you're not gonna like Dredge. And he's like, it's a very linear deck, and if they have the graveyard height, you just lose. Like I know you as a player, like you're very defensive and reactionary. I just don't think you'd like it. So he was trying to get me to build Golgari Rock, which of course is like a $1,300 deck. So I went Tarmogoyf and Liliana back when they were better, but arguably they're better now. But I was like, I don't know. So I was looking at tournament finishes, and I stumbled upon Spirits, and I was like, like these guys kind of have that flavor I like. They're spooky. They're they're Halloween-like, but they're also, they're more reactionary. Like you play them during your opponent's turn, and they're more defensive. So
Exactly.
that I was like, it's interesting. So I started. I don't even know if the Rift knows this, but I started watching the Rift on YouTube. He was putting out Spirits content, and then after watching him play, I kind of fell in love with the deck that way.
Okay. Like in his early days, when this is kind of weird.
His very early days, yep. Mm-hmm.
What happens is that I broke my back. I shattered my L1, L2, L3, so I should be paralyzed from the waist down, but fortunately I'm not. I got my strength back. I can walk, I can run, I can do everything. Not as spry as I used to be, but I can do what I got to do. And I used to watch Rift on Twitch, and then he would put it on YouTube, and you will see, once in a while he'll go Alianza, which is my email, my real personal email out there. And he, and it's kind of funny. You'll see the interaction between he and I would ask 1,001 questions because I truly loved and I embraced the deck in its earliest iteration.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Rift, you said he made you the moderator of, the Spirit Discord. First things first, how does one get involved, or how does like a new player go, hey, you keep on talking about the Spirit Discord, how do we get involved? And then how do I get into this Discord? And number two, what do you do specifically, and what are your responsibilities?
Sure. So the easiest way to probably get involved in the Discord is to go to Reddit, join the MTG Spirits Reddit. I think there's a link on there, if I'm not mistaken, for the Discord. And you click on the link, and it pretty much lets you right in. You might have to be approved, but pretty much everyone's approved. We have a pretty good community there.
Awesome community. Let me just tell you.
It's awesome, a great community. Place. Like, honestly. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's an awesome community. You allow content providers like myself, Andre Segura, and other people on there, which it's a godsend. But please share more. Yeah,
so the biggest thing with the Discord, I would say, is it's such a good place to learn. Like you face Tron, let's say, and you lose and you're frustrated. Go in the Discord, maybe in the Azorius Modern one or Bant Modern. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to do against Tron? Like, should I have mulliganed this hand? Should I have played differently? Like, and you can kind of show your hand. You can ask questions, and people are so receptive there. I'd say, out of everything, that's one of the things that helped me the most to level up as a player. How I became a moderator was about 6 or 8 months ago. The Rift had private messaged me and was just saying, hey, like, you've been in this Discord for a while. I think I've been at over 2 years or a year and a half, 2 years. And he was like, like, I feel like you got a good, like, I like the way you talk to people. I think you're inviting and friendly and offer help. So would you be interested in becoming a moderator? So they asked me and a couple other players, because he wanted to expand the team a little bit. So I think we've got 3, 4, I think we got 4 or 5 moderators total, including
wow, that's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Responsibilities, there's not a lot. The biggest thing is we'll go through the channels and clean them up sometimes. So like we had a channel for Esper Spirits in Modern, and not to say you can't play Esper, but like it's not as popular as Azorius. It's not as popular as Bam. It doesn't have the results that those decks have. So we kind of just created, Modern General. And if you want to talk about Esper, you can talk about it there, because it was kind of a dead channel that was sitting there.
I saw one for Jeskai too.
Yep. Do you play Esper?
No, I don't play Esper, but I'm just saying, like, I saw one back in the day. It was like Esper, you had Jeskai. I was like, wow, like, I didn't realize. Like let me let the audience know. Like, if you go to the Discord, under Modern, they have Azorius and Bant, and then your General Pioneer, they have your General Azorius, Bant, and Simic. They have Historic, Legacy, and other formats. So, like, this is a great source of information. You have DrKatz here, who is, minding his P's and Q's, doing, grooming the knowledge for you. So you have out there.
Yeah, and the only other thing moderators do, besides cleaning up the channels, we submit deck lists too. So, like, if there was a recent finish in a challenge, like when Dr. Queller made it second place in that challenge, or the recent 5-0s, we post those. into server deck lists, so people can kind of look and see, oh, okay, so this is what people are doing with spirits these days. And then, of course, like other stuff, which doesn't come up too much, but if people are arguing, like we had a political discussion that kind of got a little out of hand, and we kind of had to say, politics are okay, but we don't want this to be an avenue to discuss them all the time,
Exactly.
Especially if things are getting heated between people. So moderating stuff like that. We've never had to kick anyone, to my knowledge, or at least since I've been a moderator. So the community's a really good community.
Very good, because like my personal kitchen table group, we got people that are far left, far right, center, conservative, liberal. We have one rule. It's about magic. Play magic. Leave politics 100% out.
Absolutely.
You can joke. You can jokingly joke with somebody, but complete the political thing. No. Magic is magic. And
that's the thing, like having political discussions is important, especially in this day and age. It's just that Spirits Discord, maybe not the place to have those discussions,
Amen.
Like
Amen.
We're here to talk about the deck. We're here to improve as players. So we kind of put a little bit of a nip in that.
All right. Now, I know Discord is a great source of information. Is there any other places of information you would recommend people to go to improve, their decks or even their style of play?
Yes, absolutely. There's actually a lot, like there didn't used to be. It was kind of like you remember the Discord, the Rift streams sometimes, and then you started streaming a little bit less. So there wasn't a lot in the beginning, but recently, partially thanks to Andre Segura, there's a lot more, like Nikachu, and I know you'd mentioned this in one of your past episodes. Nikachu did an interview with Andre Segura, an interview with Dr. Queller. If you're interested in learning more, that's a gret place to start.
That's a great interview. So you have to go to MTG. No, you have to go to Nikachu MTG live streams, and it's in his little thing in there.
Correct. And the other thing, honestly, Andre Segura has put out a lot. He has these episodes he does now, which are called Spirit Snapshots. So it'll be like, all right, let's talk about Spirits versus Tron. Let's talk about Spirits versus Hammer Time. Let's talk about Spirits versus Titan. How do we approach this matchup? What are we bringing in the sideboard? And I'll even have a game that he's playing, an example of how the flow of the match goes. So that's such a good resource. Yeah. Like if I had that when I was starting, oh my God, like it would have helped a lot. I kind of had to learn the hard way through a lot of losses.
And the best part is he's very charismatic, very outgoing. He will do some dad jokes, but I don't think he's aware they're dad jokes, but it's cute. It's comical. I love it. And I do watch her and then I'm like, okay, you go, Andre, you go kick some butt out there.
Yeah. And I think you can find him. I'm pretty sure it's just under his name, right? It's Andre.
Yes, Andre Segura on YouTube. Yep. Any place else besides here at MTG Ectoplasm?
So there's MTG Ectoplasm, Andre's YouTube channel, then you get your interviews. Other than that, I mean, the Discord is good, and just paying attention, as weird as this sounds, paying attention to what Dr. Queller's doing. Like being one of the best Spirits players, look at his recent list, 5-0s, the sideboard, see how he's approaching it. Unfortunately, he's not a member of the Discord right now, but
shame on him. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame on Dr. Queller.
I guess he's very busy, Well,
he's a real doctor. I don't know if you're aware of that. He's an actual doctor in real life.
Yes, he is.
No, are you like absolutely. I see Dr. Katz? Are you a real doctor too? You got your PhD?
No. Sometimes our patients refer to me like that. I'm a therapist, so I work with patients in the hospital. I do counseling, substance abuse, mental health.
Okay. And
I'll have the patient say, "Hey, doctor," but I'm like, "No, I'm not a doctor. I have a master's degree,
No, if it makes you feel better, I'm a student nurse, so please don't call me, nurse MTG Ectoplasm.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny that how I got my handle originally, DrKatz, is there was a show in the 90s.
I remember the show.
Do you remember it? Yeah,
Yes.
DrKatz. Yeah, it was DrKatz, professional therapist. So a friend of mine would joke with me and say, like, yeah, when I was getting my master's degree, he's like, you're going to be a professional therapist. You're going to be like him. You'll be balding and like depressed and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's great.
You're going to sound like Eugene Levy. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I
John Lovitz.
So when we went to a fighting game tournament, and I was like, I'm gonna make that my handle, DrKatz, and I kind of just stuck after that, and then I became known for that.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Let me ask, with everything that's going on, like we had this bombardment, okay? Once he came across, realized that a lot of things went OP, they screwed up a little bit, and they had to clean up. They had to, there was mass casualties out there.
Oh yeah, the recent banning.
With all these bannings and all these formats. What direction do you see the metas or coming up in the next? I guess they're going to figure themselves out in the next 1 to 3 weeks. But where do you see the metas going in the next 3 weeks in Pioneer and Modern?
Well, let's start with Modern because I have a little more knowledge about Modern. Well, looking at it, they banned Semi and Spirit Guide, which means the combo decks are worse.
Thank you, Jesus.
They banned yep, that's a good thing. Yeah, they banned Uro. They banned Field of the Dead, Mystic Sanctuary. So those like blue soup control decks are worse. Obviously, the Valky thing is no longer a thing with Cascade. Thank God. So really, I see. It's hard to say. Like, I think aggro is going to be better because aggro doesn't get combo decks can't really get under them as much. Like my brother plays Is It Prowess.
Okay.
Plays all the Prowess decks. Recto, Shadow, Is It Prowess, Mono Red Prowess. It's fun facing them. But he had faced Dupsal spells the other day, and he's like, oh, it's so easy. I just killed him turn 3 before they could combo, and I can destroy their mana ramp within a break because now they have to rely on the artifacts to ramp. So I think Red's going to be a lot better. Really in Modern and Pioneer, but especially Modern.
Usually early in once they revamp certain formats, Burn is usually the first one to come out of the woodwork and start smashing.
Oh yeah, Burn. When my last Modern League, I had faced Burn twice. 2-0 one time, 2-1 the other time. So I was prepared.
I think we have a good matchup. I personally think Spirits has a great matchup against Burn. Every time I go toe-to-toe with a Burn player, they sigh like that. Like that.
Kind of, yeah. I think the Burn Spirits matchup is play draw dependent a lot. If you go first and you play Vile turn 1 or Wanderer turn 1, that can spell a game like a loss for them. But we also have one of the reasons we're so good against Burn is their sideboard. We have access to Core Firewalker, which is a fantastic card against Burn. It's every time they play a red spell, we're gaining life. So like your bolt now deals 2 damage to us. We can block your creatures for free. It's a headache for them for sure.
Amen. DrKatz,
yeah.
He's using a Kithkin. I forgot the name of the Kithkin. But he
Burnton Forge Tender.
There you go. That's the card. Yeah.
I've never been super high on Burnton Forge, but I know why he does it. Like
it's a 1-drop.
Is it Prowess?
It's a 1-drop, and that's the main reason why he does it.
Yep. You slam that down turn 1. Yeah, you don't have to wait a little bit.
Oh,
that can be awkward with Core Firewalker for sure. Like if you have a Cavern of Souls, and you want to name Spirit, but you need to play your Firewalker, sometimes you have to name Soldier just so you can play Core Firewalker and Droxel Captain off, or you name Core if you're going to play Apparition and Firewalker. So you run into that stuff a little bit.
No, I hear you.
Absolutely.
Now Pioneer. What direction do you think Pioneer's going to go?
It's harder to say. Like Pioneer hasn't been as popular as Modern. It really hasn't been as popular since the pandemic hit. Unfortunately,
I wish it would be.
I think it was really advertised as a paper format, and the fact that we lost that, it's only online. People just aren't as interested. I do think it's in a better place. I think the bans were good. I think red decks are going to be better there too. I think we'll see Burn. I think we'll see Boros, Feather, Heroic. I think we'll see some other stuff like Mono Green Devotion, Mono Black Aggro. I think we'll see a lot. I think the hardest thing for Spirits and Pioneer is going to be dealing with Mono Red Aggro, Burn, Boros, which are all pretty tough matchups. We don't have Firewalker. No. We don't have Auriac Champion. We don't have those protection from red cards there. So we kind of have to use stuff like Isolate to exile a 1-mana creature or Blessed Alliance, or Surge of Righteousness to gain life and destroy a creature. It's tough.
I hear you. Now,
Mhm.
what do you think we can do to win in both of these formats? Like, do we stick with the same old tried and true, or do we change it up? Like, I know there's several versions of. It's kind of weird to say this. I personally feel there are different versions of Azorius, where you can make it like a Death and Taxes build. You can make it more of an aggro build, or you can make it more of a control build. So
Yes.
my thing is and that's just Modern. I'm not, Pioneer, you do have the Simic build and you do have the Azorius build. What do you think is going to take to win in both formats at this particular time?
I think it's a little hard to say because it's still so new, but I'll take a stab at it anyways. Because right now, I can tell you in the leagues and even in the preliminaries, people are just playing what they want. People are like, Modern saved, Pioneer saved. Like, let me pick my favorite deck and just jam it. So you kind of want something that's good against the field. That said, I do think red decks are better. So in Modern, again, we'll start with that, having more knowledge about it. I think anti-red cards are really good. Like when I got my 5-0 recently, I had 2 core Firewalkers for burn and prowess. I had 2 Auriok champions for shadow, which also helps against burn and prowess. Protection from red, gaining life, really good. I even had Eidolon of Rhetoric, which is
Wow.
An old spirit of the
Yes, it
past.
is.
So this one's a
white and 2.
1/4. 3.
Yeah.
Yep, 3 mana. It says each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. So you play that against a prowess player, and they can't kill it.
I mentioned that.
Your bolt, you can't deal with it. Unless they have a soul scar and can weaken it over a couple turns. It's very difficult.
It's a very good card. I mentioned that when we were talking, one in the issue with Tybalt. I was like, Eidolon Rhetoric Magic players need to put that in their deck. The pilots need to do it.
It's actually, it's funny you say that. That's where I got the idea. I was slamming that when the Tybalt thing was a thing because it would shut that deck down hard. I was playing my brother who plays all these prowess decks, and I had in the main deck just to prepare for the degenerate meta we had, and he just couldn't do anything. And he's like, man, you should use that card more often. That card's just, I'm out of the game.
Amen.
So that's what brought me to include it. Other stuff that I think is good is I think to combat the red decks, we're going to see stuff like Jund coming back and Golgari Rock, so mid-range decks that can destroy creatures. So Kira is in a good position. Gives all your spirits essentially protection similar to Droskel, but they have to use 2 removal spells to remove a spirit instead of 1. The first one's always countered. So that's a really good card to have right now. And then general stuff like Damping Sphere is good. Path to Exile is good. Graveyard Hate. I wouldn't skimp on Graveyard Hate in Modern because I'm the type of player where I know Dredge is around the corner just waiting, for people. It's lurking in the corner waiting all right, hopefully they don't pack their Graveyard Hate. So I'm always prepared for that. In terms of the main deck, I think Azorius is going to be better right now than Bant in Modern because Bant, we take a lot of damage from our mana base. And the turn 1 Noble Hierarch just gets bolted or Lava Dart if there's a lot of red decks, and then that puts you way behind.
You know what I also think too? You keep on mentioning red and red and red. It's what happens is red's out there, and if you're playing Bant, you got to worry about what? Blood Moon. Blood Moon.
Absolutely.
It's going to screw with your mana base. I'm not saying Azorius isn't the same way because realistically, we're only running usually 5 to 4 basic lands in Azorius deck. So, it does affect us too, but thank you, sweet baby Jesus, for giving us, Skyclave Apparition to deal with Blood Moon.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's great when you have Vial on 3 and your opponent Blood Moons you and you just Vial in that Apparition, take the Blood Moon, continue to play your game.
You just want to laugh at them. Tee-hee.
Yeah, exactly. That's where Bant... It's a preference thing for sure. A lot of people like Bant Spirits. Some people argue it's stronger. It's technically more powerful because you can do more busted stuff faster. Coco's a fantastic card, but you open yourself up to so many liabilities.
It's clunky. It's a little clunky right now.
It's clunky. Yep. Your mana's worse. You take a lot more damage. You can die to burn. Your Noble Hierarchs get picked off. Or it's awkward because you're playing the game and then you just draw 2 or 3 Noble Hierarchs in a row, and it's it's annoying. In Azorius, you're more likely to draw gas.
Amen. See, now
Yep,
you speak of my
absolutely.
language. So it's kind of funny. You actually covered two questions I was going to ask you about the sideboard, but you answered the question with the sideboard. Like, is there any other future cards that you would like to see people include in their sideboards because of the unknown meta? Like I'll throw one out, and I'd say Chalice of the Void.
Yeah, we had a big discussion about Chalice of the Void a few weeks ago in the Discord, and Chalice of the Void is so tough because it's a fantastic card, right? It's a lot of times it's where you want to be against prowess decks and against burn to an extent, more so prowess, and so good against prowess. But the issue is you're taking off turn 2 to play Chalice on 1, and then if they have an Abrade, it's like, oh no, like you'll lose the game on the spot. Again, I think it's a preference thing. I did play with Chalice a while back, and I've had fantastic games with Chalice. It's a really good card. It's a little risky in a sense. I'd rather be playing Eidolon of Rhetoric or a pro-red creature. I'm a more aggressive player, and taking kind of from Dr. Queller's list, I jam Firewalker because I can turn the corner and start attacking with it when I need to.
That's valid.
I'd rather have that.
That's a very valid point.
But Chalice is a great card. Fantastic, actually. And that might be where we want to be, if these red decks become really popular and there's not something out there to keep them in check.
Now, there's a question I wanted to ask you, and it's not one of the few that I generally had for you. And this is me picking, and this is more for the newer player.
Sure.
What I've seen is people, they buy these decks, and let's say, the Spirit deck is over 700. All right.
Yes.
I'm in the current belief that you should have not only your sideboard, but you should have a portfolio of other cards that were good in the past, in other, when different metas were in, and potential cards for the future meta of what's going on. And I call it my spell book, where I have a huge, can't even speak, huge collection of cards, and just make sure it's well, I need this now, or I need this card now, the Veto, Dovinsby Veto. It's not, we don't use it right now, but it's nice to have in the holding somewhere. Same thing with the Teferi Time Raveler. We don't use it, but it's nice to have somewhere. Are you in the agreement to hold these cards, or just get rid of them right away?
No, I like to hold cards because as the meta changes, I think we need to be flexible and have a lot of options. Blue and white are great colors, because especially white, because it gives us so many options. Like I mentioned Kira earlier, if there's a lot of Jund and removal heavy decks, it's great. Or Giver of Runes, another card that sometimes Spirit players will jam. Thalia, sometimes you see Spirit players with Thalia if there's a lot of burn and prowess, just to slow them down a little bit. Semi-new card that I might be familiar with, Unsettled Mariner. That's a card that came out in Modern Horizons. I used to play with that because it's a Spirit. It taxes them whenever they're targeting us. If we see Scape Shift, which gets its lands into play and deals a lot of direct damage, or if we see a lot of burn and prowess, that looks better too. I personally, recently I've been kind of taking a lesson from Dr. Queller's book and just all Flyers main deck besides the Apparition, and it feels the cleanest to me because you can close out games quickly. You're not impeded in combat, but all those cards are great to have. The other thing I was going to mention is maybe we should talk a little bit about Pioneer. I didn't really get to Pioneer when we're discussing the meta and how to play around it. Pioneer, I don't think Bant, again, is where we want to be if there's a lot of red decks and burn. I lean towards Azorius. There is Simic in Pioneer too, which is an option, and we had a discussion about that in the Discord and said it's not really well positioned right now. Simic's good in a meta where there's a lot of control decks or a lot of kind of degenerate combo stuff where you can just counter things. I don't think it's as good when there's red decks and burn. I'm not super familiar with Simic. I haven't played it, but just from my understanding of it.
It looks
So I
like a
still
lot
think
of fun.
Azorius is going to be the king there.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it looks like a lot of fun. Right now, the certain builds in the Azorius Pioneer, it's majority flyers. That's
Yes. Yep.
so that
Watcher of the Spheres, just kind of like an Ethervile for Pioneer sometimes.
Yeah, I actually brought that to Nikachu. He's like, yeah, that's not really, no. I'm like, I agree to
No, it's a
disagree.
good card. Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree, Nikachu.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was excited about Watch when I first saw it, and at first the Discord was like, yeah, I don't know. And then somebody tested it, and we're like, wow, like when you can watch your turn 2, and then Queller costs 2 mana, Rattle Chains cost 1, you can hold up Queller, quell something, and protect it with Rattle Chains. That's
I think
fantastic.
the community is quick to poo-poo stuff that's not a spirit. It's like, oh, it's not a spirit? No. Or it doesn't have, if it doesn't have flying, no, it's poo-pooed. Doesn't have flash? No, it's poo-pooed.
Yeah, I know. We're spoiled, I guess.
Oh yeah, so spirit plays. It has to have flash. It has to have flying, and it must be a spirit. If it doesn't have those 3 things, no, it's poo-pooed.
Even Apparition, like when the Discord saw it, we all knew it was going to be a powerful card, and we were thinking it's going to be better than Deputy of Detention, which we used to run in that slot, maybe a sideboard card, but I don't think we realized just how impactful it would be.
I thought it would be a good card, but I was like, it doesn't fly. It doesn't have a flash.
Yeah,
and I was like, you know what? And that was the arrogance. That is the true arrogance of the spirit player. And
it's the arrogance of Azorius, right? Azorius is that arrogant, like,
we thought, and then all of a sudden, it became the story of 2 different formats. One, that in one of my other podcasts, where it became this phenomenon in Modern, where it was a staple in almost every white deck, and then you go to Pioneer, and it's just a sideboard card.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
Yeah, Pioneer's different, I guess. I think they have more. The format's slower. They have more stuff that's over 4 mana. Like Modern is very low to the ground. Like apparitioning a Scourge or a Shadow is just so powerful, whereas you can't apparition and Niv Mizzet.
Well, let me ask you: have you ever had a game where you were like really, like your back was against the wall, and then all of a sudden the tide turned on you? Like,
and I made a comeback essentially, right?
Yeah. Did you have anything like that as of late?
Yeah. It's funny. I have a story with that. First of all, I'll say that if you want that play style and you want to like catch it from behind, you want to play Bant, because there's nothing like being out of cards and then you draw Coco and it's just like, well, now I win, I guess. Like I was playing my brother in Pioneer. He used to play Mono Green Devotion. He's pretty much the only person I play with in paper, which is why I keep bringing him up because of COVID. He's part of my small social circle, but he was playing Mono Green Devotion. This is before the Ballista ban in Pioneer. He plays out his Ballista, down-ticks Ballista, and just sweeps my whole board, kills every single spirit. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so mad. Like, sometimes he'll like, keep Ballista at like 1 and then start ticking up last turn, but he was kind of cocky. So he's like, I'm just going to kill every single spirit, even if I have to lose my Ballista, because I don't care. So he does that. Passes turn to me, I draw Coco. Goes back to his turn. I play Coco, 2 Lords off, right, boom.
Wow.
Now, so I make some favorable blocks, keep my Lords around, passes turn back to me, draw another Coco. Coco again.
Wow.
2 more spirits, and then he's just like rolls his eyes and he loses the game because of it. So Coco's a really powerful card in those type of situations, like drawing 2 Cocos off the top. Like you can be way behind, like I've been facing Jund, and like way behind, no creatures out, nothing on the board. Coco, 2 draw skill that captains. All right, you're locked down. You can't kill anything. You die next turn.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, that's bullshit. That's straight up bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It's bullshit. Yes, absolutely.
No, the only reason why
Coco's very strong.
The reason why I asked this question is because I saw, I was going through YouTube today and I saw a video of a 1998 championship match where the guy just top decked I forgot what it was like. It wasn't a lightning bolt, but it was like a lightning bolt where you gain 3 life. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, lightning helix.
Lightning helix.
Maybe?
That's it. Lightning helix.
Yep.
He top decks the lightning helix and wins. And I'm sitting here like, that is the best top deck ever. So I'm like, I'm curious to see if any, like I've had one, playing with friends, fun. Those top decks, oh, it's like licking the tears off your opponent's face. It's delicious.
Yeah, I will say Spirits is a deck, like not banned as much, but Azorius, where you kind of don't want to get into those situations.
Oh, no.
Where you're way behind, because like Spirits kind of wants to maintain control of the match, especially Azorius Spirits. And if you start to lose too much control of it, it's a little hard to make a comeback, but it's possible.
Oh, it's possible.
Like Moreland Haunt in Modern is a fantastic card for that. Because
people sleep on that card. People sleep on that card all the time, and I'm like,
oh my God,
no. You need two of them in your library, because Modern is a place where they're destroying creatures now left and right. You gotta prepare.
Absolutely.
You gotta.
It's so good. Like I was hesitant to go up to 2 because I was like, 2 colorless sources, but I've never looked back. It's won me so many. Actually, it was a big factor in winning me my games against Burn and Grixis Control in the last league I played. So yeah, it's very strong.
I was always the person, like I was like 2, 2, 2, and then when Dr. Queller did, I was like, thank you, Dr. Queller, for proving my point. Thank you.
Yes, it's so good. There was a recent interview. I think it was when they were talking to Dre, and he was saying, hey, I'd want more than Haunt and Pioneer even more than pathways we got. Like, I don't even care if our mana is not perfect. Like, that's always the card I miss when I play Pioneer. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know about that. I love my pathways. I love the pathways.
It certainly helps the mana. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because Port Town.
Oh yeah,
awful card.
Yep.
Awful card.
Yep.
Like, the worst part is that I'm one of these bushy people. Like, my Modern deck is completely foiled head to toe. Like, even my lands are expeditions. Okay, like that's my goal right now is try to get 4 foiled Masterpiece Ether Vials. So that's my goal right now. But,
awesome.
So like my whole deck is foiled. Even my sideboards, like I got Force of Negations before they became, uber expensive in foil. So
wow.
So like
it's it's funny you brought up Port Town. Like the card gets so much hate. Dre despises that. I know he was going to do something where he gets a bunch of them and gets them from his.
I was going to send him my foil.
People send it. He's going to set them on fire. I
was going to. I literally.
Hates the card so much.
I have a playset in foil. I was going to send it to him, but then I was like, it's foil. I'll just send it. What I'll do is I'll sell it and I'll get some 4 non-foils and then I'll send it to him.
It's funny because for such a bad card, I love the art on.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful art.
So amazing, the little skeleton walking there, and very spooky.
Well, let me ask you, what advice would you have for starting players that tried to get into Spirits? And I'll tell you, don't go foil first.
No, definitely not. Well, you have a couple options. If you want to play Spirits and you don't want to spend a lot of money, probably just start with Pioneer. Don't build Modern Spirits. Otherwise, it's an expensive card. Fetchlands are expensive. So I would say play Pioneer, see if you like the play style of the deck first, maybe on MTGO, especially during pandemic. And if you do, then you can gradually build into Modern. It's not as expensive to start with Pioneer. And in terms of like just playing, I guess the biggest thing is like practice a lot and try to know when you're playing control versus when you're playing aggro. So if you're playing a burn deck or a deck that's really aggressive, you want to slow down the game. You want to quell their spells. You want to counter their stuff with Wander. You want to kind of like play slow. You can't race them because they're faster than you. Whereas if you're playing a control deck, you do want to get in there and kill them quickly. So it's very dependent on the matchup. And there's, like we talked about this earlier, but there's so many good resources. Watching Dre's content, the Spirit Snapshots he put out are really good. Joining the Discord, asking questions. But I definitely recommend like watching content and seeing if you like the play style first before you build into Modern Spirits, because it is more expensive, especially Force of Negation.
Yes, it is. And then let me ask you, what direction would you like Spirits to go in? Out of curiosity, just like, what direction, like, do you want it to go banned? Do you want it like controlled? Do you want it to go aggro or text?
Yeah, I mean, I like Azorius the most. Again, I think it's a preference thing because, Band is more powerful. Azorius is more consistent. I would like to see more spirits with flash. Obviously, I think every spirit should have flying. I want to see that. I wish Apparition had flying, but if he did, he'd probably be too strong. Given how strong that card is already, it might be banned if it had flying. I guess I would like to see them print a really good 1-drop for spirits. Besides Wander, Wander is fantastic, but another 1-drop spirit that can either interact or grow and kill opponent quickly.
Okay. Let's see. I have one in mind that I would love spirits to WotC to build. It's 1 white, a simple 1/1 flying. No flash, just flying. And I would call it the quarters attendant. Now,
interesting.
What happens is that for 2 mana, you sacrifice it. Now, it's just flying in 1/1, but you sacrifice it to destroy target non-basic land. It destroys the non-basics. Or one non-basic land. Not a whole bunch, just one non-basic land.
Interesting. So and just destroy. They don't get to search your library or anything. They just lose it.
It's like Ghost.
So it's land destruction.
So think of it as the Ghost Quarter, but on a flyer.
Oh.
So okay. Quarters Attendant, Ghost Quarter, little 1/1 for 1 white.
So would they search your library and fetch up a basic then, or no?
No. That's
okay.
me.
Oh, jeez.
I'm selfish. No. Now, realistically, yes, we're going to have to put that in there.
Yeah. That would be very strong. If they could, I think this is one of your questions too, if they could print a new spirit, what I would like to see, a 1-drop, I have a couple ideas. One is like a blue 1/1 flyer like Mausoleum Wander. Maybe it gets pumped when you play spirits in the same way, but the ability would be, I don't know if you know the card Stifle, where you can target, counter a triggered or activated ability.
Ooh, that would be
fun. So what you could do is you could play it, and then your opponent couldn't fetch, because if they fetched, you could just sack it, and now they don't get a land.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So it'd be pretty nasty, yeah. Or you play Titan, and Titan searches your library. Nope, sacrifice it, counters it. So it'd probably be too strong, but I think that's what I would want.
See, my other one I thought was 1 blue. This one was a flying flash 1/1, but it allows you to loot every time it's tapped.
Interesting. So if you attack with that, you get to loot once.
Exactly. Or you can use what's the Shacklegeist?
Oh, yep. Or you can tap it with that, and then that'd be really strong too.
I'm selfish. I'm an only child. What can I say?
Yeah. Spirits players want really strong stuff, even though we already have really strong stuff.
I'm just humbly, WotC, if you're listening, I'm just humbly saying this.
Yes. The other idea, one of the other mods had a while back, was a white 1/1 flyer that you can sacrifice to give another spirit protection from whatever color.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
That would be cool. Yeah, another layer of protection in there. You could protect your Selfless, your Queller. And it kind of adds to the tribe protecting each other.
See, this is one thing that people don't understand. And this is what I said in my very first podcast. Spirits is a different tribe amongst all other tribes. We protect ourselves. There is no other tribe in Magic the Gathering that does that. None. Yeah. We have Spell Queller to counter. We have Mausoleum Wander to counter. We have Rattle Chains to give hexproof. Drug Skull Captain hexproof. You have Selfless Spirit that gives all your creatures indestructible. That is what makes spirits great. I love it. It is.
It's the best tribe, against removal. We had a discussion about that too in the Discord. It's interesting. My brother plays me a lot, and he plays a lot of red aggressive decks, and he said to me a lot of times, the thing with spirits is it's hard because you want to kill everything immediately, because once 2-3 of them are out there, they can turn the corner so quickly. They just take over the game. The more spirits your opponent has out, the more likely you're just going to die.
It's literally like chickenpox. You got one chicken pox, and then you're covered with chicken pox.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. It's scary, yeah. I mean, you got to keep them off the field. You got to remove them, and that's why stuff like Kira, the spirits protecting each other, and Moreland Hunter are so good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, did you heard about the announcement WotC did about white, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like, if you're not aware and you're listening to us, thank you for joining us. This is, me, Dwight, aka D Blanco, and I have here in the studio, well, over the phone, shall I say, we have Ben, also known as DrKatz. He is the moderator for the Spirits Discord. Now, if you're unaware, WotC is going to try to improve white. They want to include flash, ramp, and card draw to white. Now, here's my question for you. What are your thoughts on them wanting to include flash, ramp, and card draw to white? And what do you think it will do for spirits? Or will it do nothing at all?
It depends. I think white getting flash is cool. Whenever I hear anything getting flash, I'd be a little excited. Like if we get white is a color, right? Where there's a lot of spirits. We have Self a spirit, Apparition's a spirit. He's white. Moreland Hunt makes white spirit tokens. So I think there's a chance that we could get a good white flash spirit, and that, depending on what it is, like a 1/1 white flash flyer with some other type of ability, like I mentioned before, giving some protection from a color, like that'd be really cool. In terms of the other two abilities, card draw and ramp, those are interesting. Like card draw and ramp are scary because when I hear card draw ramp, I think of Arrow. But
exactly.
But it depends, like if it's white, like getting a land out of the library, if your opponent has more lands than you, that's kind of okay.
Like land tax.
You're not, like land tax, because you're not ramping above them. So I think it could be cool. I mean, I think improving white's good. The funny thing about white is white gets a lot of flack, right? Like people always say like white sucks, white's underpowered.
They poo-poo it.
But yeah, exactly. But when you look at it, when you really think about it, like, all right, Death and Taxes in Modern, that's actually the secondary deck I play. And like if you look at the recent 5.0s and lists, like Death and Taxes is up there, that's a mono white deck. So like white has Apparition, white has Firewalker, white has Path to Exile.
You could have just stopped that Apparition. Skyclave Apparition's enough. That's like white has that,
yes.
And that's
it doesn't need anything else. Nope, yeah, Apparition's all it needs. Yep. Yeah. White is so I don't know. I think people exaggerate a little bit. I don't think white's as weak as people say it is. I think Commander, it's probably weak. I've heard more about them. Not as familiar with the Commander community or Commander decks, but I mean, white getting stronger overall is good for us, right? Because we're a blue-white tribe. Exactly. So that means we get a better white removal spell or an alternative white removal spell to Path. We get, I don't know, some spirit that draws a card when it enters the battlefield. That would be great. Like Silvergill Adept, like a white 2/1 flyer that draws a card. That'd be fantastic.
What I was like thinking is there's an old card called Orim's Chant, that like if you play it on your opponent's upkeep, it doesn't allow them to play cards or attack that turn. Of course, there's a one kicker. So it's like one white and one white kicker that allows you to do that, which is extremely powered.
Interesting. But so was that flash, or was that something you play in your turn that your opponent can't play cards?
No, it's an instant. It's an instant. And you can
okay. So like silence sort of.
It's exactly like silence, but they can't attack. But you do that on your opponent's upkeep. No, their turns are just over. Oh, okay, fine. I have to put a land.
It's like a time walk. Yeah,
it's awful.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that idea. Like a spirit, like maybe like a 2/1 flash flying white spirit that says when this card enters the battlefield, like your opponent can't declare attacks this turn.
Or cast cards.
Or cast cards. Wow. Okay. All right. We'll take it there too.
Can't cast anything.
So you're facing Titan and they just can't do anything.
Nope.
Time walk.
Oh, you want to cast a spell? No, sir. Oh, you want to attack? No, sir. Good day. Have a nice day. That's Blue Sheet, sir. Did you say that's Blue Sheet? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, white getting better most likely means spirits getting better, but like it depends. Like if they print some really good white removal spell, better than Path, I would hope they wouldn't do that because Path is already very good. Like that could be bad, because then
they'll reprint
more removal spells, more ways to kill spirits.
They'll reprint Sword the Plowshare Watch.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to this point of the show where I'm going to start shouting people. I'm going to shout people out. I'm going to shout out DrKatz because he went 5-0 just recently. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And then also, yeah, man, I hit the wrong button again. There you go. DrKatz, that's what you get. Also, in Modern, we just had oh, come on now. Modern, February 19th, we had an individual go 5-0 in a Azorius deck. And you know who it is? Take a guess, DrKatz. Who went 5-0 in Modern?
Queller, yep.
Dr. Queller. Congratulations, yep. Dr. Queller. You're the man. Thank you for proving that Spirits is the best. And then in Pioneer, there were a couple people, February 18th, they went top 8, one in top 4, one top 8. But, we only do top 1s here. We want you to strive to be the best. We want you to be the cream of the crop, the best of the best. You know how it is. February 18th, we had a player go 5-0 with the Azorius build. And once again, it's NJSO 18. This individual did it he didn't do it back to back, but he did it at the same time as Dr. Queller did a couple weeks ago. So you know what, gentlemen? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for proving that Spirits is the deck to beat. I appreciate it. Now, Ben, DrKatz, why don't you tell the listening audience where they can get a hold of you, and is there anything extra you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so you can find me on the Discord. My name on the Spirits Discord is DrKatz, DrKatz. For those who some people thought I was a vet. They're like, are you a veterinarian in real life? No, a therapist. But and then my Twitter handle is DrKatz11, so DrKatz11. And an MTGO, DrKatz11 as well. So if you're facing me in a league, you'll know who I am.
Well, that's awesome. Now, I want to thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. Like I said, this is DrKatz. He is the moderator for the Discord. So if you get a chance, ladies and gentlemen, go to the Discord, check it out. And if you see DrKatz in there, tell him hello. It's like, I heard you on MTG Ectoplasm.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Come to this point of the show. You know what? You can reach me at MTG Ectoplasm on Twitter, or you can email me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. I'd like to hear from you. If you want to throw in some insights, certain things that you want to hear, listen to, let me know. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Have a great one. And remember, make your opponent say, that's bullshit.